today's video, we're going to talk about Roddy Ricch. Roddy Ricch, he dropped his second album. Yeah, he dropped his Sophomore album recently. But fans and online bloggers, they're saying that the album was a flop. Let's talk about it. So, Roddy Ricch came on the scene, I'd say about 2018. He got real hot around 2019. You see, when he had that song with Nip, Racks in the Middle, and he also had those other two songs that came along with that one, Die Young and Every Season. Every Season was such a big record. He even had Russell Westbrook promoting the record, walking out the locker room, looking at the rollie like, I ain't got no time. Like, y'all remember all that Instagram nonsense. The boy was on fire. He was hot. Well, look right here. They said first week, he sold 63,504 copies. In the eyes of many in 2021 and going further, that is a flop. Anything under 100K is a flop in many people's eyes. But we also do live in a streaming era where people don't buy physical copies of albums as they once did. I'm going to give that to them. But the first album sold 200K. So that leads me to believe, did Roddy Ricch run into the sophomore Jinx? A lot of artists do. He's not the first. He will not be the last. This same thing happened to Alsina. You drop your first album, highly anticipated. You're new on the scene. You're the hottest thing since sliced bread. They're backing you heavy, and you're dropping good records. Now, Roddy came with Every Season, Die Young, Down Below, Racks in the Middle. That was a feature, but still, he was on it. And then after that, he had The Box. The Box was his biggest single. You heard what I said. Single, not album. Single. So what's that say? Is Roddy Ricch a single artist? And maybe he's not an album artist? Maybe people bought into the first album because of all the music, the singles, because of all the singles that were going to be on the first album. You see, the second album, he had no singles. No singles, man. Maybe he was banking on the wave of The Box and people remembering that record and the records before that. Maybe he was banking on that to roll over on the second album, and it didn't. He ran into the sophomore Jinx this young man ran into. Now let's get into August. Just a quick segue. 2014. I got onto this kid around 2012, 2013. So I was waiting for him to drop his album. I was a supporter of Alsina. I believed that August had what it takes to become the new thing in R&B in 2014. You see, his image, he was mixing the gangster with the R&B thing. Trey tried to do it back in the day. It worked. Chris tried to do it. It worked. But they gave him the green light to really put the tough guy persona on and still be able to sing to the females. And he sold heavily on his first album. Also, his first album, his brother. Y'all remember? His brother, I think his name was Mel? His brother passed away, and that was the selling point for the first album. Second album, his brother was not the selling point. It did not have records like I Love This. Once again, just like Roddy Ricch, he didn't have no big breakout singles. His first album, Bear Tune, he had tracks with Jeezy, tracks with Khaled, tracks with Ross. You see where I'm going with this? Singles. He had Benediction. The first album, this is how it always goes. I've seen this many times with artists. Their first album, it's super pushed. They're on top of the world. They believe that the heat will last onto the second album and maybe get that one hot. And it doesn't happen like that. Maybe sometimes fans see through your BS, or they move on to something else. Now, I remember as well, he blasted Def Jam for pre-releasing the album, basically. They released the album before it hit the stores, let people get a listen to it. The reason the label did this is because they already knew the album was not going to sell. So they gave people the chance to hear it before they buy it. The artist, knowing that, of course the artist is going to hate that, because it shows that the label doesn't have trust and belief in you to bring their money back. Because that's what this is, man. They put the money up, you sign the contract, you say, hey, I could double that. I'm hot, they like me, I could double that. They say, okay, cool. You sign, they put the bag behind you, and you don't double it. Now you're in the red. You're not in the black, you're in the red. You owe. Now, going further, I think Roddy Ricch, if he wants to drop a third album, or if the label is going to put a budget up for a third album after the result of this album, he needs to drop EPs in the middle. You got to let the fans know you out here, you working, you got music coming. You got to keep the fans fed. We're living in a time now where everything is so fast paced. People will forget about you, man. You can't go away for 2 years, 3 years, or however long he went away and think that those songs are going to keep people's attention. There's new artists every day, man, underground and up echelon. You feel me? There's new people in and out coming every day with music. He got to stay on top of his grind. And it seemed to me, Roddy didn't put his best foot forward for this album. There was not much promo behind it. Barely anybody knew it was dropping. I think as well, artists got to start to realize that platforms like TikTok that gets their songs trending and very hot does not always guarantee fans to stay around. Sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, the song that's trending is bigger than the artist, and the fan will probably walk past the artist in the street, know the song, but not know the artist. Maybe Roddy got tricked by the fame. He got tricked by the lights. Thought he was bigger than something he wasn't. It happens, man. It happens. Sometimes you think you're the next one. And then you see really how things go. You gotta work. You can't just expect, I'm Roddy Ricch, I had the box, these records. And I like Roddy Ricch, man. So I don't really like to report on a dude, flopping and all that, but it is what it is. I think next time, next album, he need to double up, like Nip say, double up, and come back, man. Come with some mixtapes. And he had hard mixtapes in the past. All that helps. He knows this. He did it before. Boy got lazy, man. Or is it like he said on that interview he had with KD? He had an interview with Kevin Durant and another gentleman. He said he had another kid. Is Roddy Ricch being a stay-at-home dad? Which I applaud. I applaud that 100%. Because a lot of rappers, they don't really take care of their kids like that. We see all the crazy nonsense on the internet from the baby mamas and all that. Roddy said he was taking care of his kids. So maybe that's what he was doing while preparing to drop the second album. Because, life changes. This was 2 years ago, the first songs and the breakout. That was 2 years ago. Life changes. Well, he has 2 kids now, I think. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I believe he has 2 kids. Young boy doing the daddy thing. Could that be what it is? Why there was not much promo around this album? Roddy's living his real life and not his fantasy. He's not selling the fantasy to the public. Hey, man, like I said, sometimes your focus is redirected and life gets real. I want to see Roddy Ricch shine, man. Hope on his next album he do his thing. This one here, 64K, that ain't bad, man. It is what it is. You feel me? It is what it is. Y'all go listen to the album. Tell me what y'all think in the comment section. Yeah, Cable TV. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Catch y'all next one.